Hello again from Maverick Customs Knife and Tool. Got a couple of questions on the knife grinder that I use. So I figured I'd go ahead and make a short video showing what I use in these videos to grind knives and tools. It is the Dayton 2x42 sander. It's got the 6-inch disc that I don't use. I don't use the disc on that one anymore either. It's one more thing to have to buy if you want to use it. So I've been using belts for everything. One of the biggest things that I did for this is take the wraparound table off of it. I don't know where the table's at, or I'd show it to you, but it come out to about here and wrapped all the way around to where you had to move the table to take the belt off. That's one of the reasons that we come up with this new tool rest. It's something I threw together fast. Makes it a lot handier grinding everything than the aluminum table did. The aluminum table that comes with it seems like stuff wants to hang on it, you know, especially steel or anything. Kind of, it'll nick it and dig into it, and so we got rid of that. The table's just a piece of scrap angle iron, a piece of scrap plate. You know, make sure you square it, weld it, notch a hole in it, makes it adjustable. The other upgrade, not using my stand so I'm holding my phone, is the plating. The one that comes with it is the stamped sheet metal one, and it does flex and move. So I added a 3/8 block of S7 tool steel to it, and that is what I use. This plating is not hardened or anything yet, so I do have to recondition it about once a month. I'll just take it over to the 4x36 and flat sand it. I will, now that I've got the controls on my furnace, I will go ahead and heat treat this and, you know, stop that where because it's dipped right here, which I flipped it over, but it is dipped right here from grinding. I'll get that heat treated so it stops doing that. The plating is just drilled and tapped through, 1/4 20. There's a socket head cap screw going through it. I can't get the camera in there to see that real well. You can see it right there. There's a slotted hole, so my plating is adjustable side to side. Now, what I did for the 2-inch belt, where's that? There's a tape measure that is missing. Anyway, so I went ahead and I did make it slightly smaller than 2-inch. That way I don't have to adjust the belt so much side to side for my plunge lines. The belt's already hanging over the side of the plating on each side for my plunge lines. So I don't have to deal with, you know, all the adjustments up here. It's just a really simple tracking adjustment. It's just a screw up here. The way I've done the plating, I actually need to tighten this down and lock it in place. But the way I've done it, as long as the belts are nice and true, I don't have to adjust anything. You know, just throw it up there and go. Put that back on there. It runs 3,450 RPM, which it runs pretty quick. It's a 3rd horsepower motor. You know, there's some people online that say you'll bog it down. I don't really bog it down doing anything. You know, if you're grinding bevels and bogging it down, you probably need to put a lower grit belt on it and go at it. You can make up for a lot with just changing belts out. Of course, I won't really get into belts because it seems like the different steels I use would kind of require different belts. Like 5160, I ground it with zircon carbide belts, and it just grinds like crap. It glazes over and messes your belts up. But I go back and grind 5160 with aluminum oxide, and it grinds like butter. So, you know, I keep different grades of belts around here for different things. So, like I said, the plating, it's short enough that it lets the belt overhang to get your plunge lines. You can see it right there. It's, I don't know, it's probably got 30 seconds of overlap on each side. The main thing that helped me the most was taking the guards off of it. You know, guards are great for, you know, something you don't have to change a belt on, but as soon as you have to change a belt, guards are in the way all the time. And then, of course, we discussed the table was in the way too. But yeah, that's pretty much it. It does take a few different Allen wrenches to mess with it. He's been sitting on a magnet. One for the table, one for the plating, which, like I said, I've gotten to where I don't have to move it anymore. But it does rotate. So you can lay it down if you want to, or lay it back, or, you know, if you want to move the plating out of the way and do like a slack belt grind for like a convex grind on your blade, you can. Just loosen up the screws right there, push the plating back, and then, you know, you can get some pretty good slack in it grinding on it. The belt cam is super simple. You know, there's nothing hard about this machine. You know, for the video yesterday, there's the grinds that this thing is capable of making. The only limitation is yourself. You know, you're only limited to what you can do yourself. It's not the equipment. You know, people have made nice knives with files and sandpaper. You know, you don't have to have a several $1,000 2x40 or 2x72 grinder set up with all the bells and whistles, and, you know, cost you as much as a car to be able to make knives. You know, these things run about, I've seen them as low as 140 online, on up to 225. Just depends on where you find it at, and a lot of people will run a sale. You know, I see a sale on these grinders probably once or twice a month from different sites, and you can get them for well under 200. Belts are cheap. You know, this is the last of the Amazon belts I bought for this thing, and I think they wound up being about a little under $2 a piece for the aluminum oxide. The silicon carbide I've got, they wound up being a little over $2 a piece. It will run the 1x42 belts too, and I use those for handle shaping. Just move the plating out of the way. Sometimes I'll move the tool rest out of the way. I've got the tool rest set up to where I grind a lot of carbon fiber in here, so I've got the tool rest set up where I can hook my shop vac to it, and it actually takes a lot of dust out of here. You know, I don't ever have carbon fiber dust past my wrists. You know, it's never foggy in here from dust from shaping handles. Another guy had commented about using a bucket of water or whatever under the grinder. I keep a magnet under my grinder, and it catches about everything. What's down there on the floor is from me picking it off and throwing it down there and standing here playing, talking to people. But yeah, I do use a big magnet underneath it, and it works pretty well. You know, works pretty well to clean up the table too sometimes. But that's about it. That's the rundown of a nice little intermediate knife grinder. Of course, you're going to be doing flat grinds or convex grinds on it. You're not going to be doing hollow. The wheel down here is 4.5 inch, and it's just not. If you really wanted to hollow grind a small knife, you could, but mostly no. You know, anything under like a 2 or 3 inch blade that's more than 3/4 or an inch wide, you're not gonna hollow grind it on this thing. So if you're looking for a machine that is under 200, you know, budget machine that will make nice knives, Then the Dayton 2x42. Palmgren is the same thing. You could find a used Craftsman. The Craftsman are the same thing. I've seen them pop up on Craigslist or eBay or whatever. And sometimes you can find them dirt cheap. But the Craftsman is the same exact grinder, just different paint. Palmgren is the same grinder, different paint, different sticker. But it seems like the Palmgren is more expensive. So if you can find the Dayton or the Craftsman, it's the same machine for less price. So yeah, that's it. And I do have the 1x30 Harbor Freight, so it is still a useful grinder. Use it for small grinds, small edge grinds on things, clean up stuff. Yeah, I do everything from rough grinding blanks to sharpening with it. You can get any belt you want from 40 grit up to, forgot what the highest grit I've seen for this is, but I keep 600 grit silicon carbide for sharpening. I don't really keep anything higher than that. They make higher for it. Any place that makes belts for the 2x72 can make you belts for the 2x42. It's the same width belt, just cut different and spliced. Most all of these belts, like I think Phoenix Abrasives makes their own belts. I know GL Pierce, that's who I use a lot, is GL Pierce. They just ask you what length belt you want because they cut their belt material, splice it, and send you out of order. So you don't necessarily have to have, you don't have to have a certain grinder to order belts from places that make their own belts, because you just tell them the size you need and they cut it and go on. I'm starting to ramble, so we're going to go ahead and finish this up. Great machine. If you have the chance to pick one up, cheap, used, whatever, even if you have a 2x72, they're still worth having in the shop. Like this machine, I will not upgrade until this one dies. And even if it dies, I'm going to have to make a hard choice on whether to actually upgrade or just buy another one of these, because this thing has made a lot of good knives and will continue as long as it runs. But yeah, any questions, comments, leave them. If I've left something out about the machine that you want to know, then by all means let me know and I'll answer any questions I can about it. Like the video, like the channel, subscribe. Go to Maverick Customs Knife and Tool on Facebook, Maverick Customs on Instagram. If you want to put in an order, I am taking orders all the time. Or if you just have questions about anything I'm doing, hey, there's that tape measure. Ta-da. I tend to find stuff when I'm talking. Yeah, go to the pages, like, subscribe, leave comments. Let me know what your thoughts are on stuff. This video is a result of somebody asking about the grinder that I didn't explain. So, yeah, if you want, if you want a certain video made on a certain topic, just let me know and I'll make one. You guys have a good day.